Welcome to Think Fit to Be Fit. I'm Tammy.
I'm Ericka.
And today we're talking about adrenal fatigue.
Yeah, so adrenal fatigue, what are the adrenals? Okay, so they're actually this little gland right above the kidney. They're tiny, but they do so much for our bodies and they operate everything basically. They work with all the hormones and regulate our immune systems, blood pressure, metabolism, response, all of our responses to stress. So it's what creates cortisol, which we need that. Some is good, but you want it in balance. And then other essential body functions, but primarily hormones, like for sexual hormones and all that.
I mean, they're very involved in production of the estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. And when you're adrenally fatigued, when you're out of balance, then you're going to have some issues with hormone balance, and you're going to have challenges with cortisol levels, which are going to impact your sleep. You may end up with insomnia because of that, because with cortisol you should have a spike at the beginning of the day and then it slowly diminishes towards the end of the day and you should naturally fall asleep. But what happens when you're out of balance and you're under a lot of stress and fight or flight mode all the time, then you'll get spikes of cortisol more throughout the day, or a lot of times people get it right towards the evening, right when they're ready to go to bed, and then they can't go to sleep, and then the next morning they can't wake up because they're completely out of balance.
Yeah, it's like a crazy vicious cycle that you'll end up being exhausted in the morning, and then at night, I've had it myself, Tammy's had it, so we know all about it, and that's why we want to bring our knowledge to you, because we've healed it. And it feels good. It feels good to be back alive again.
Right. And the other thing is that impacts, if you're not sleeping, you're not resting and recovering, then you're going to have weight gain. You're going to be irritable. You're going to have some mood disorders. You might have poor circulation. There's so many things that go hand in hand.
It affects your sex drive. Come on.
Sex drive. Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to want to have sex. That's not necessarily fun. So adrenals are really pretty important for a lot of different things. So what causes adrenal fatigue?
So what causes it? It's everything from environmental factors to, again, eating's everything. Having a balanced, healthy diet, whole foods, cutting out all the processed sugar, caffeine, junk, alcohol, you name it, like whatever, like kind of like the party thing, kind of food, or not supplement, but stimulant.
Yeah,
anything that keeps you going.
Caffeine is really bad. We think that caffeine gives us energy, but actually it diminishes our energy. We have like a reserve of chi, and when we consume caffeine, it just makes us use that chi, that natural energy reserve, more quickly. And then that's why you start relying on caffeine, because now you're trying to use the stimulant, because your reserves are low all the time. So it starts this cycle that's like a never-ending cycle of always needing that stimulant. But if you stop using caffeine, then what happens is the first few days you feel miserable, but then every week after that, up until a month, you feel better. And then when you get to a month, you feel better than you ever did even on the caffeine, energy-wise, focus, and all that sort of stuff. So alcohol is another one. It just stresses your system, and it's like a high process in the sense that it responds in your body like a nervous system depressant, but also like a sugar. It's a lot of sugar. I was going to say,
that's why you feel like sometimes, I know for me, whenever I drink, it's like, ooh, it wakes me up. It's a sugar, because and sugar is one of the most addicting things you could ever possibly put in your body, more than cocaine.
And then it causes inflammation, and then medical conditions and extra inflammation, autoimmune, all these things can stress the adrenals and then keep you in this burnout state over time. Being in a work environment that's really stressful, being in a home environment that's stressful. If you grew up in a trauma environment, then you can have adrenal issues much later in life. So there's a lot of things can lead to that, and they're hard to heal. It takes a long time to heal your adrenals. You have to be really pampering to your body. You have to eliminate some of the blocks that are preventing your adrenals from healing. So some of those things that we mentioned that cause the adrenal failure. And then you have to provide some healing activities and healing nutrients to be able to heal your adrenals. So some healing activities would be, instead of yang, high intensity, more yin activities.
Yeah, like yoga, walking. You want to be out in nature, more Zen-like stuff to like really balance you and ground you. And again, take it easy. Like light exercise, light load, you're not stressing your body out. Whereas your high intensity, heavy weightlifting, running, stuff that's kind of that adrenaline, endurance kind of sport, you don't really want to lean towards, even though we love it and we want it and we feel like we need it, it's actually throwing us way more out of balance, and you're going to be even more exhausted in trying to run for the coffee or any highly caffeinated beverage or whatever. So it's like, it's actually going to be more beneficial for you, and you'll lose more weight more likely when you do the yoga, the Pilates, the lower, lighter intensity exercises.
Yeah, people don't think so, but I've trained with people where they were like overtraining. They were creating so much damage and breakdown of the muscle tissue and asking their body to do so much work that it was too much on their body and too much on their adrenals, and they were just constantly in this fatigue state. But when you add those yin exercises, that's why we know rest and recovery is so critically important. Meditation is important. Forest bathing is important. All those things. So if you're constantly high stress environment, training really hard, balance out your program. But you can also take some supplementation to support adrenals as well.
One more thing, meditation. That's calming, grounding. Again, it's not a physical exercise, but it's a mind exercise, and it helps you calm your nervous system, calm the stress response in your body. And so when do you do it? Usually morning or night, sometimes midday if you need to get away, like especially like a lunch break meditation. It's always nice. But that really is beneficial. And
it brings you that alpha wavelength, which is a wavelength where your body naturally wants to recover.
And so supplementation, there's a ton of herbs out there and vitamins and minerals that you could use as on a regular basis, incorporate it into your lifestyle, and you'll feel more balanced. And again, it's healing you while you're just kind of nourishing the body. So what are we talking about? Adaptogenic herbs. What are adaptogenic herbs? They're herbs that work with your system. So if your body needs it, it's going to use it. If it doesn't, it just kind of it just balances itself out, right?
Yeah. Ashwagandha is one of those. It's really great adaptogenic herb. Rhodiola is another herb that's really fantastic. It's a plant that grows up in high altitudes and harsh conditions, and the micronutrients that allow that plant to grow up in the high altitudes is the same micronutrients that help make your body more resilient to stress. It's an anti-anxiolytic. One of the other things is the studies have shown that they did studies with mice where they put them in water and they made them swim until complete failure, muscle failure. And
earmuffs vegans.
Sorry. They didn't let them drown. They took them out. So and what they found is when they gave rhodiola to the mice, they lasted 6 times longer with the rhodiola. It's just it's one of the other things it does is for those that do some high intensity training, especially men. High intensity training temporarily lowers your testosterone levels, and so you can have more muscle breakdown and some other negative effects. But they found that when you're consuming rhodiola with this high intensity training, that not only do you perform better, not only do you have more sustained energy, but you don't drop testosterone levels too. So there's a lot of benefits. It's a great for as an antidepressant, and it's great, like I said, as an anti-anxiolytic. So if you have a lot of anxiety, it helps with that as well.
That's great. I mean, that's one of my favorite herbs. Like whenever I'm like exhausted, I'm like, where's the rhodiola? Reach for it in the sups. Go to the cupboard. Go dig and find. And yeah, it's good. Ashwagandha, I feel like it keeps me more calm and at peace. Like it's more of an anti-anxiety in a way. Like it keeps you in a good stress-free state, right? Is that how? Wouldn't you explain it that way? Like that's what it feels like to me. And I've had many people try it because I always am like, wherever I go, I'm like, oh, try this. I'm doing this right now. So you want to try it?
I notice energy when I take it.
Really?
It's so great. Just hormone balancing, ashwagandha and maca, good combination. So anytime you can help support your hormones and your adrenals don't have to work as hard and your thyroid doesn't have to work as hard, it helps with that adrenal fatigue. DHEA is another one. DHEA, your adrenals love DHEA and your adrenals love vitamin C. So you can really pound the vitamin C and that helps support it. Matter of fact, you'll find lots of vitamin C in the adrenals because they really like it. But DHEA, when I was in adrenal failure, that's what the holistic practitioner put me on. And it was the best supplement I've ever taken. I went from feeling completely fatigued to feeling amazing in a short period of time. I will state that if you're taking too much, you'll notice some hair loss, because what happens with DHEA is it converts to hormones, whatever hormones your body may need to create. So if you're estrogen deficient or you're progesterone deficient or you're testosterone deficient, it's a precursor to making your hormones. So it's supposed to, bridge the gap of the deficiency. But if you're making testosterone and your body thinks that you have too much testosterone, you can convert that to DHT, and DHT is the thing that can cause balding. So there are some herbs that you can take to block that, like saw palmetto, but ultimately it just means back off your DHEA. Men can consume a lot more of that than women. Women would only want to take like 5 milligrams to maybe 20 milligrams a day, whereas guys can take a lot more. But do your research on that. And maybe even talk to your holistic practitioner. What are some other things?
Yeah, one size does not fit all.
Right.
So you everyone's program is gonna be a little different. But again, these are the basics, and then you do your homework and go research a little bit, go to a naturopath and get some holistic help.
Right, and you can test for these things too. So there is ZRT labs, and Genova is another one. But if you go to a holistic practitioner, they can do full panels using the saliva test, where they will test your cortisol levels at various times of the day. They'll test your testosterone, free testosterone, estrogen. They'll test your DHEAs. What they found with mine was my DHEAs were so low, I didn't even have DHEA to make my hormones. And so a lot of my hormones were really out of whack. My testosterone was really low, and that's recovery. It's, muscle development. It helps with focus, a lot of things that you wouldn't think about. Both men and women need testosterone. So if you go to a holistic practitioner and you have these tests, a lot of times you get a whole booklet with charts and explanations. It's really fantastic. So I encourage you to do that. There's a great one, Jessica Hutchins in Beechwood. If you're looking for one, I highly recommend her. We'll put her contact information below, but she saved my life. But at least, go and find someone that you trust, get some testing done, see where your hormones are at. A few other supplements that could be helpful in the interim.
Yeah. Magnesium, mineral, it helps with getting your body relaxed and in a calm state. It works with the other minerals of calcium and potassium. You always want to kind of keep those balanced. So making sure those are like at a good normal rate, right? Mm-hmm. And then B12 is huge. I mean, that's pretty much essential for everything. Like if you're missing B12 in your day-to-day life, a lot of things are off. And it's great for your nerve health. And again, that's great for your just overall functioning. Like, help me out here. What is the...
But bees are important. Like I have
energy.
Energy. So I have MTHFR, and bees are important for breaking down your food so that you get the micronutrients that you need. Bees are important for creating your neurotransmitters. So if you're having a lot of anxiety, or you're feeling depressed, or you're not feeling happy, or you're not feeling motivated, that may mean that you're deficient in bees and you need that for neurotransmitter support. So I encourage you to go with the natural bees. So everyone says folic acid when you do bees, but folic acid is synthetic. So I encourage folate, because 50 to 60% of the population cannot utilize folic acid. So folate is the natural version, and methylcobalamin. So look for any B complex that has those versus the folic acid, and those are the natural versions. Mm-hmm. And your energy level will go through the roof. My sister lost like 30 pounds once she got on that. My energy levels,
mood disorders, anything. If you have any issues like anxiety, depression, it will help with that a ton. Mm-hmm. And even with my mom, she had a stroke. The bees are so important for your brain health too. Yeah. Nerves and brain.
And all these things are intermingled, they're interconnected. So if one system in your body is stressed, if you're not making your neurotransmitters, then, there's a reason why that's happening, and that stresses other systems in the body. And when any other systems are stressed in the body, it puts more stress on your adrenals and your thyroid and your pituitary gland and your whole glandular system. So the objective is to, again, give yourself rest and recovery, remove those things that are preventing your body from resting and recovering or overextending any of your organs or your glands, and then providing nutritional support and activity support that help with that healing process.
Yeah. and you just want to have that overall balance. If you didn't watch that video about balance, it just kind of ties in with that.
Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like our YouTube page, follow us on our social media sites, and leave us some questions and comments about the video. Hopefully your adrenals are well on their way to recovery or healthy already, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, drink your water and lemon. Thank you.